It is my conviction that true life does not happen in the middle of life. There we, as Neil Postman declared, amuse ourselves to death. True life is found on the edges, in three distinct and overlapping areas of the self, society, and the planet. But what are the edges? And what is the middle? And how did we end up in the middle? And how can we return to the edges and hence return to life? We try to answer all that this week on The Edges. When we are young, we experience the edges of life all the time. We cry when we fall, we laugh when we are amused, we create, we soak in goodness, and get scared at the unfairness of life. But somewhere along the way, we are told in no uncertain terms to grow up. That wonder is for young people, that being different is weird, that pain is to be avoided, and slowly we are sent to the middle of life, away from the edges. The middle is comfortable, predictable, safe, and consumable. The middle is the place where we avoid the big questions of life. We watch TV, we watch videos, we play games, go through the motions of life. We get up, we eat, we go to school or work, we come home, we eat, we amuse ourselves, we go to bed. We know life is boring in the middle, so we experience the edges from a safe distance, a screen most of the time. Sometimes we do it in life, on a vacation or a mission trip, but we make sure the time away is short and we retreat back to the middle soon. We might even share with our friends in the middle how we've changed by seeing and experiencing the edges, but we tend to slip back into the middle, consumable and safe once again. But here's what is amazing about life. The edges continue to sneak in. No matter how tall a wall we put up, or how big a fence, or how much time we try to stay safe, the edges sneak in. The edges are the two opposite yet equally unsettling areas of life. Either great wonder, joy, and creativity, or great pain, injustice, and death. These areas remind us that we will die, that life can be unfair, that life can be wonderful, and that humanity is bigger than the sum total of what we produce and consume, and that we all are, including the plants, animals, and everything in between on this planet and beyond, needing one another in a symbiotic relationship. That's a simple word that means that life, bios, comes from being together or with one another, sim. The edges force us to ask questions, face our fears, and experience fullness once again. Individually, we avoid the edges of ourselves, keeping ourselves busy or amused so we don't ask those painful or joyful questions. We do our best to blend in. We collect friends online and in person who help us create a homogeneous crew. And we avoid quiet. Quiet is the place where our minds wander. In society, we avoid the places of great pain and injustice. Don't go to that area of town. Don't talk to those people. Don't do that. People will think you are crazy, a socialist, a liberal, a right wing, or a left wing. Avoid those who are different. On our planet, we live away from most of life. Sure, we have our parks in the middle, but we don't know where our food comes from, what species are native to our area, if mowing our well-kept lawn is actually good for anything other than our ego. The painful and joyful places are far away, to be visited perhaps or watched on a National Geographic video, but mostly avoided. Those areas cause us to ask too many questions. Should we have that many dams on the rivers? Should we be putting that much stuff into the atmosphere, that much stuff into the water, our mouths? Questions that make us unsettled. So we head back to the middle, get comfortable, avoid the questions, and relax. It is fear that drives us to the middle. Fear of questions, fear of pain, fear of the overwhelming. We want to be safe. We want to be in control. But lurking right around the corner are the edges, calling you back to life. Maybe you will meet a friend who is different. Maybe you will talk with a homeless person downtown, listen to a person of color or an indigenous person share their experience. Maybe you or someone you love will get a diagnosis, go through an event, either amazing or tragic, that shakes you from the middle and helps you experience the edges. And maybe once you're there, on the edges, you'll realize that moving to the middle was a story told by those who either want your money or they want you to stay subdued, chilled, and amused, or even both. And the edges is where we find life, where we start to be silly again and not care, where we sit in the tension of questions without answers, pain without solution, and a joy without end, where we challenge and protest systems of injustice and stand by those impacted by that injustice, where we seek out partners, food, products, and experiences that teach us more about the edges of our planet. Maybe we can all start by growing a garden. This is all a start of a much bigger conversation. To hear more, make sure you hit subscribe. And until next week, thanks for listening.